Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Jonathan back again with another video for you guys. This is going to be part 2 of the video that I posted yesterday talking about the note names of the keyboard. So now that we know the notes of the keyboard, we know their names, we know how they can become sharp and flat, we know all of that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start talking about measuring those notes via distance. And the distance that we measure music in is called intervals. An interval is just simply the distance between one or more notes, okay? So with there being 12 notes, there are 12 unique intervals within an octave. And an octave is just simply the range from one note. So in this case, we'll take C to the next C. The notes that are in between here are what is considered an octave, okay? So within this octave, there are 12 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, and then you get back here to this one. This brackets them off. There are 12 unique combinations that you can have of these set of 12 notes. And we're going to go through those today. The first thing that we need to understand is that when we're measuring distance, let's try to use terms that we already know and we're aware with. So if you take a regular 12-inch ruler, there's going to be certain points on there and they're going to have numbers associated with them. So in this particular case, I know that in the last video we were learning these as note names, but we're also going to be learning these as numbers as well. So if we start with C, and C is going to be the beginning portion of where we're starting at, we're going to call this number 1. Okay. Now, omitting the black keys, let's only use the white keys for right now because that's important for me to explain this concept to you. So if we're starting on C, moving to the next letter, D would be number 2, E would be 3, F 4, G 5, A 6, B 7, and C is going to be the 8th note. Okay, these notes, just like how in the last video, how they derive their names from the letters that are around them, these grab the numbers that surround them. We'll get into that. But for right now, just forget that. We're worried just about the white keys right now. So if we start on C and we just number each note going up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Now that we have numbers to those, we're going to start separating them via distance. Now, if you look on the screen, there are some different terms that we use to call intervals. Okay, on the left hand side of the screen, those are different names that we identify intervals by. Okay, we have unison, which means simply a note that is not moved, essentially. So from C to this very same C, we haven't made any real distance. That's like 0. You don't really see unison a lot unless you're doing orchestral music where you have different instruments playing the exact same note. They're all playing that one note in unison. Okay. If you look at major, that is a type of interval that we have. We have minor intervals, we have perfect intervals, and we have augmented and diminished intervals. Okay. So now that you know the different types of intervals, and we've already named these, hopefully the right side of the screen makes a little bit more sense to you. So I've laid it out almost kind of like a 12-inch ruler. I've put some points on there and there's a grid line. So if you look at the hot pink, I have something that says U. So U stands for unison. So just pretend like that's where my C is starting at, is right up there at that U. That's going to be unison. Okay. Now, measuring the distance from C to the very next note on the keyboard, which is going to be this C sharp, the distance from this C to C sharp is going to be the distance of a minor second. And actually, if you give me a second here, I just got to change this real quick for you guys so it makes sense. Okay, so now that makes a little bit more sense. Sorry about that. So starting from this C, moving to the very next note, you see that first purple line has a lowercase m and a 2 next to it. That stands for, okay, so I didn't explain that. Small m is going to indicate minor, where a capital M is going to indicate major. Okay, P is going to signify perfect, and then I have augmented and diminished written out for you. So starting on C, if we move to C sharp, the distance between those two notes on our ruler says that it's going to be a minor second. So from C to C is unison. From C, the distance between these two notes is going to be a minor second. Okay, now there's different ways how you can play intervals. We have melodic intervals and harmonic intervals. A melodic interval simply means the way that I'm playing it separately. So I'm going from C to C sharp like this. That would be considered a melodic interval. Okay, that means I'm playing some type of a melody. So when you think of melodic, think of separation of the notes. Harmonic, harmony, togetherness, means that this will be considered a harmonic interval where I play both of them at once. Okay, just so that you guys can kind of understand that concept as well, because when we start getting into learning chords, it's going to be important for you to understand what a harmonic interval is and what a melodic interval is. It just simply means the way that you're playing it, either separately or together. Okay, if we move to the next note, so what we're doing is that we're basing this ruler all off of the first note. So we're measuring distance from this note to all the other notes. So we already did from C to C sharp, which is a minor second. If you look at the next purple plot on the graph there, it's a capital M and a 2. That means major second. So if we move up three notes, starting from this one, 1, 2, 3, that means from the distance from C to D is considered a major second. Okay, so I'm going to go through the rest of the intervals on the keyboard using that same concept, basing the distance off of this first note against all the other notes. Okay, we're going to start over again. We have unison, we have minor second, major second, minor third, major third, perfect fourth. This can be considered an augmented fourth, a diminished fifth, or a tritone. We'll come back to that later, okay? Because that one's a whole different monster. But just so that you guys know, it's the note in between a perfect fourth and a perfect fifth. This interval right here is what I'm talking about. So after we get this tritone, which is what I like to call it, it's just simpler to call it its own thing, you get perfect fifth, then you get minor sixth, major sixth, major seventh, minor seventh here, and then major seventh, and then you get to perfect eighth, which we can call that an octave. Okay, just like how we said in the beginning of the video. So again, one more time: unison, minor second, minor third, major third, perfect fourth, tritone, perfect fifth, minor sixth, major sixth, minor seventh, major seventh, perfect eighth. Okay, those are the distances within this range of keys. And from C to C, those are the different intervals. Okay, remember, I'm teaching you a concept, and concepts can be applied to multiple different areas. So for instance, let's take the note F. If we start on F, let's try to name the intervals within this octave, okay? Using that same concept. If we start on F and we don't move anywhere, that's called unison, okay? From F to F sharp, that would be considered a minor second. From F to G would be a major second. F to G sharp is going to be a minor third. F to A is going to be a major third. Perfect fourth, we have a tritone. Perfect fifth, minor sixth, we have a major sixth, minor seventh, F minor seventh, and you get back to that octave. Okay, remember, it's the concept. All right, now we've only done this moving within octaves. So what happens if we're already within an octave and we're trying to name intervals? Well, whatever your starting note is going to be your reference point. So within the octave of C, let's say I'm starting on the note D and I want to measure distance against this note. Well, now this note becomes my center point. Okay, so if I wanted to measure the distance from, say, D to F, what I would do is I would first look at how many letter names are spanned. Okay. D, E, F, 3. So that means from D to F is some type of a third. Okay. Now looking at our graph, we know that the distance between 1, 2, 3, 4 notes is going to be a minor third. And how do I know it's 4 notes? If you look up at the graph, each of those plots represents 1 note. So if you move from the pink all the way to the first blue plot on the line, that's 4 plots. We have unison, minor second, major second, minor third. That's 4 individual notes. Okay, so sometimes it's better for you to think of it as moving in individual notes. Moving up 4 individual notes, or we call those semitones, 1, 2, 3, 4, creates a minor third. Moving up 5 semitones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you get major third. Okay, and I can always check myself with the graph up there. So if I'm moving a little bit too fast, again, you can rewind the video so that you can see what everything that's going on. I know this one's kind of a loaded lesson for you guys, but it's very important that you understand these intervals and you understand what's going on here. So I wanted to jump to this one right here, the tritone, the one that's in the middle of the perfect fourth and perfect fifth on the graph there in orange. This one's a little bit odd. Okay, for all intents and purposes, augmented means to simply raise a note, and diminished means to lower a note. So same concept as sharp and flat. Okay, augment, when you're augmenting something, you're making it say higher. Diminished, you're lowering something. So in this case, when we take a perfect fourth and we make that interval larger, we augment it, you get an augmented fourth. Okay, if you take a perfect fifth and you close that interval, you diminish it, making it a diminished fifth. Okay, that's where augmented fourth and diminished fifth comes from. Now the name of a tritone, I've heard different things all over. The one thing that seems to always stick with me is that this note happens to be right in the middle of the 12 notes. Okay, and we can prove that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right in dead center in the middle. So we call that a tritone because it's right in the middle. Okay, so if that's easier for you to understand, most people commonly call it a tritone. So chances are you're better off just memorizing that it's a tritone. But do understand the concept again of augmented and diminished, because once again, there's certain situations where it may be considered an augmented fourth or a diminished fifth, depending on who you're talking to. So at this point, that's all I'm going to leave you guys with for this video. I think that's enough. I think that's enough for you guys to kind of simmer on and really get that concept down. As you're practicing these different intervals, go through different octaves. So we've already done C and we've done F. Go to G, go to A, go to those different octaves and try to memorize, or not memorize, but try to learn those different intervals that are inside those octaves. Okay, and you don't necessarily have to do it within an octave. Just start on any random note and just try to measure the distance between, using the ruler up at the top and understanding the different concepts that we've done in this video today. I think that you guys should be able to learn that relatively quickly. If you do have any questions in regards to this, please put them down in the comment section below. I wanted to try to make this as concise as possible, but I understand that this can be confusing, and maybe the way that I worded it was confusing for you. So if it was, let me know down in the comment section below. I'm definitely willing to do another video on this topic for you guys, maybe taking it a little bit slower and going a little bit more in depth on what I'm talking about here. But that's it for this video today, guys. If it was helpful to you, be sure to like, share, comment. You guys take it easy.